glad you could join us for You Make the Difference. I'm Wanda Walker, and today we're talking to Kelly Camp. She's going to tell us about the upcoming Break Every Chain event. Welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you.
Now, Kelly, tell us what a Break Every Chain event is.
It's a community effort to spread the message of freedom and grace to those that are struggling with addiction or that have overcome addiction, to their families that have stood beside them. Is to try to gather support in the community to stand with those that have overcome addiction, and to use that really as an excuse to spread the message of Jesus Christ.
That's wonderful, isn't it? And I love it because people who have come out of addiction and are victorious have an opportunity to share that with the community.
Yeah.
It's the story of restoration, and it's always good news. And I know you started one in November of 2015. We had one on the square, and then the next one was in April of this year. And then this one is coming up on Saturday, October the 22nd.
Yes.
And it's going to start at 11:30. There'll be hot dogs and hamburgers. There'll be great worship music and testimonies, and support will be shown from the community for those who are recovering and those who need to come out of addiction.
That's right.
Right? Yes. Well, how will this one be different than the other two that you have done?
Well, I think that as we continue to do this, we grow stronger and gain momentum, and they're excited about it. They're excited to share their testimonies, and people are excited to hear them.
Yes.
The community response has been great. Even those that don't struggle with addiction and ever have, they're excited about it because, I've said before that everybody knows somebody or loves somebody or either has been there, and it's just a chance for everybody to get together, and excitement's building up. I'm excited.
Yes, and I'm excited too that you have different people telling their testimony.
Right.
So there are a lot of people who are coming out of addiction.
That's right.
Yes. All right, so the 808 band will be there. Tell us about the 808 band.
Of course, I love 808. They have a mission statement, and it's 1 or 1 million, and they're after souls, they're after hearts. They're on fire for the Lord, and it comes out in their music. Their music's original, they write it, they play it, they mean it, and they're just awesome people individually. I've gotten to know them over the past year, and every one of them is so special, and they're just very sincere.
Yes, and so, in case people aren't able to come to the Break Every Chain event, I'd like to share some testimonies even today.
Okay.
And I know that you have handpicked the people who will be coming and giving testimonies. So if you would like to tell your testimony or tell a testimony of somebody who will be coming, that'd be wonderful.
There's a couple of different perspectives that'll come across in testimonies. One of my favorite is the counselor, Kim Neese at Counseling Services. She works in addiction, and she ended up in that career without knowing why she was going to be working in that field.
Yes.
So she kind of questioned God, and not long after she started working at Counseling Services of LaGrange, her own son was caught in addiction, and the way she just describes fighting for her child and fighting for his life, it gives me chill bumps now. I can hear her words, and she's been a really powerful influence in my life. She's prayed with me a lot of times, and as someone in recovery, there are weak moments for me too, and I thank God for her and others like you and my support system, because I can hear y'all's words in my head when those moments come, and to have you guys come out and share y'all's perspectives on addiction is powerful, not just to me, but to other people. That's just one. Also, another that'll be sharing is Lincoln Anderson. He shared before. He's been a powerful influence in the faith community, and he was an addict at one time. I love his testimony because now I know Lincoln personally, and I know that he's a father and a leader and a husband, and the life he describes having before just don't seem like Lincoln now, you know. And some of the others that'll be sharing, they come to me, and I think it's because God's laid on their heart that it's time to tell their story, and it's good for them. Because as we tell it, we hear it, and we believe it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it strengthens you, right?
It does.
And I believe, you know, just by declaring it on the square,
Yeah.
and in front of everybody, that it strengthens you.
It does.
Yeah, and it makes you, I mean, you've got a microphone that is just putting it out there in the atmosphere about who you are now and what God's done in your life and where He's delivered you from.
That's right.
And where He's delivered you to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it resonates, and also it becomes what people in the community expect of you.
That's right.
You know, I mean, they
hold you to that.
Well, it's your image, and so it's really good, and it's good for everybody, isn't it?
It's good for me. I know it has to be good for them. That it keeps you strong when you realize who you are.
That's right, it does.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, I like it because probably some of the people who will be giving their testimonies have ended up in the newspaper on the front page or whatever in their state of addiction, and now they're being brought forth in who they were intended to be, who they were all along. They just didn't know it. And so now people can see them in a different light.
That's right.
It's real. That's wonderful.
It is.
Yeah.
And it carries on. I seen a poster yesterday that says, to spark something in someone else, you must first let the flame burn within yourself. And
yes.
I think that's kind of what we're doing. We're getting it's like a wildfire spreading. It's the way I can see it.
Yeah. You call it recovery revival.
Yeah.
And tell me why you chose that.
Because of the words, recovery stands out to everybody that's ever dealt with addiction. That it just jumps out at you. And revival is to bring back to life, to bring life into. And I think that's what we're doing in this community to people that have felt lost and numb. It just sparks life back to them.
And as a result of you doing Break Every Chain, other communities have shown interest in what we're doing. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we have several other communities that are participating. We have, personally, I've been invited to 3 or 4 different counties to share my testimony, and in doing so, I make connections with those people, and they will be here at Break Every Chain. We have visitors coming from Roanoke, Alabama. The Celebrate Recovery group from over there is coming. The Celebrate Recovery from Powder Springs is coming. We have Potter's House is coming from Jackson, Georgia, which is a connection that was made through this. And Hosanna Home is coming from Lafayette, Alabama.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just God's way of networking, I guess. He's just carrying it out. And even some of the people that attended the last Break Every Chain, they went back to their hometown in Powder Springs, and now they are doing something called a Hope Conference. But it's basically the same thing, Yeah. And it's just spreading the message of the gospel,
That is wonderful. Now, Kelly, your family has been real supportive of you in the Break Every Chain events. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's very important to me. My family was just broken, shattered into pieces. My mother and I didn't get along. We didn't really speak. I had lost custody of all my kids. The only contact that I really had on a daily basis was with my sister, and still wasn't healthy. But it was to a point where my family had just stepped back and expected that they would bury me, and that was literally what they thought. My kids thought that they were eventually going to lose me, and they mentally prepared themselves for that. But that's not what my family looks like anymore.
That's right.
I'm so close to my mom now. I'm actually a daughter to her, and I'm a mother to my kids, and God's restored my kids back to me. He's teaching me how to be a mother to them. I'm a sister, a friend, I'm learning every day, but I see him putting the pieces back together, and now we're doing birthday parties and, you know,
Yes.
family life, and it's great. It really is. And the best part about it is my kids are starting to rest assured that it's over for them.
Yeah, they can relax.
Yeah, they can relax. Mommy's home.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I know that as you've gone out in the community to get support for Break Every Chain, there have been lots of people who have helped. And so I want you to talk about the support that you've gotten in the community.
Okay. This event in particular, and maybe because we are gaining momentum, people are believing in what we're doing. There's been more support come about. But some of the faithful supporters from the first one have been PC Screen Print, and she's awesome over there. She does everything she can to help us get the word out. Mud Creek donated the banners twice because we thought that it would be a one-time event, and it had the dates on them. Troop Transformation, of course, has been a major supporter. Nancy and Charles Wardlaw have offered so much support and just encouragement. That's the main thing, encouragement. This time there's been support from several churches that were so eager to get involved that I barely had to ask for any help. Faith Baptist, I talked to the pastor about what we needed, and he went above and beyond to donate to the T-shirts. And Grace Covenant Worship Center, my home church, that they're on board. Anything they can do to help. They're also sponsoring the shirts. Grace Baptist, it's just Grace Baptist Church on West Point Road. They were just offered to help with whatever we needed help with. They didn't care. Just what can I do to help? And their youth group comes out and helps us with, you know, serving lunch and anything else they can do. Counseling Services also has sponsored the T-shirts, and I think that sends a good message out.
I think it does too.
When those names are on the back of the shirts and people can see who is stepping up in the community and saying, hey, we support y'all, and they're there. And Reformers Unanimous, Celebrate Recovery, of course, they're a backbone in support systems, you know. Living Hope, they've been very supportive. Everybody's been supportive. I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Sheriff's Office,
LaGrange Police Department, and Sheriff Woodruff's going to speak at this one, and he's spoken before. And
the court system too. They're offering self-help credits and community service hours because they just believe in recovery and they dedicate their lives to it. And it's an awesome thing.
And you've got a few things that are planned that are going to be special for this event. Talk about those.
So we have a surprise performance by Sound Doctrine. I think it's a private school, but it's called Sound Doctrine Deliverance Ministries. And they've put together a surprise performance. I don't want to go into a lot of details, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun and people will really enjoy it, and I think it'll captivate our audience.
Yes. And then one of the reasons that we started Break Every Chain was because we were wanting to build support for an aftercare center for women. And that has really progressed since last November. And there will be an announcement about that at the Break Every Chain event too. So you'll have to come out and see what that announcement is.
That's right. That's the best part.
Yeah, that's a great surprise. Yeah. All right. Oh, I wanted to also let you speak to people who might be in addiction right now, to offer them some support. What is it that you know from your experience that you can impart to people who are wanting to come out of addiction?
Well, I know because I started at a young age using drugs that I was trying to fill something up inside of me. I was trying to fill a void, and it wasn't until this last year that I finally realized that hole that's in your heart is only meant to be filled up with Jesus. And until we understand that and understand that the pieces aren't going to come together until we let him in and let him fill that space, nothing's going to change until then, because that's not who God created us to be. And when we start to see ourselves the way that he sees us, everything about us will change from the inside out. And I can also say that the peace that you think you feel when you're using or drinking, it's a false peace. And that the peace that comes from God, it's real peace, and it's lasting peace, and it just engulfs you. I would just want to offer encouragement to anybody struggling with addiction, just to trust God and pray to him to start showing you who you are in him, and pray to him for strength, because I can't remember the scripture, but in one scripture in Corinthians, he says, it's in your weakness I'm made strong. So we trust in him, and we start to declare that we're strong. He's strong when we're weak. Then it just gets easier, and there is hope after addiction. He promises us that he'll restore everything back to us that we've lost. And I've sat personally and witnessed this in my life, because I've been homeless, jobless, without my family, without my kids, without any hope at all. And last September 16th, I walked out of jail barefoot with nothing, and I was free, and I was happy, and I've watched him put everything back in my life in place the way it's supposed to be, in the order it's supposed to be in, and I'm a living witness to it. And I just want to share encouragement that he's the answer.
Yes. And so where would you suggest that they reach out for help if they're interested in making a phone call or talking to somebody? Where?
Lots of places. There are so many people in this community that stand in support of recovery. I could tell you could reach out to Counseling Services of LaGrange. They're a Christian counseling. They offer the very good support and encouragement, and they'll put a support system around you and just have your back. And Reformers Unanimous, they meet on Friday nights on Airport Road, LaGrange at 7 o'clock. You can reach out to Mr. Jimmy or Miss Robbie Pruitt over there. You could contact Celebrate Recovery. There's probably 3 or 4 of them in Troup and surrounding counties. The one that I personally go to is Refuge Point in West Point, and they're awesome people there that would be happy to help and just embrace you in your struggle. You could reach out to the Sheriff's Department. I mean, I love our Sheriff's Department,
Yes.
and they are just so eager to help people. Anybody there would be glad to get you in the right direction. And we just have a great community.
Yeah, we
everybody
do.
really does offer support.
And I think Grace Covenant Worship Center
Yeah.
is a really good place
Yeah, of course.
to refer people to.
Yeah.
It's just a grace-filled church, and one that's very accepting of people and very encouraging of people. And, Pastor Alex and
Yeah.
Jill have a ministry where they counsel people, and we'd love to have you be a part of
Yeah.
Grace Covenant Worship Center. And it's located in Hogansville, Georgia, and it's on Bass Cross Road, right behind the Love Station.
Yes.
So, Kelly, what advice can you give to families who have a loved one that's in addiction? And, lots of times, I'm speaking from experience, you don't know what to do. And so what encouragement can you give them?
Well, first of all, I would say that hope is never lost, and that sometimes it may seem that way. I know my family, like I said before, they thought that there was no hope for me, that I would never get better, never get out of it. Hope is never, ever lost. There's always hope, especially when Jesus Christ is in the picture. I would say to pray for them and pray with them, and just show them encouragement and support and love. I know sometimes people say tough love, but not always. Sometimes you just need someone to embrace you and support you and let you know that you are loved and that you're better than that. So if your family member is struggling with addiction, that would be my advice, to never lose your hope, to pray with them, over them, and for them, and to offer them encouragement. And just start to treat them like that's not who they are. And then maybe that's the way they'll start to act.
Yes, and I'm remembering somebody that I talked to in the jail ministry, and she said it's very important for your family not to give up on you.
That's right.
And so, you know, there was a lady there that said, I'm about to give up on my daughter. And she said, oh, don't ever let her know that. And don't do it, because there is always hope in Christ. Right. Okay, now let's review. So if somebody's come in and didn't catch the date and the time, that they'll know where to go and what time.
Okay, so Saturday, October 22nd on the Lafayette Square in LaGrange, we will be doing Break Every Chain Recovery Revival. It's going to be an awesome event, sharing testimonies, fellowship, lunch, surprise performance, community announcements, community leaders speaking out. We're just all gathering together in support of those who are in recovery or need to be in recovery. We're going to start at 11:30 serving lunch and probably go till about 2. You'll be blessed by this event. Hope to see you there.
Yes, and the first 100 people get a T-shirt.
First 100 people get a free T-shirt.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, Kelly, have you got any idea what God's plans are for you in the future?
I have a small idea. I would say I just scratched the surface, because He's exceedingly abundantly kind of God. But I'm in school at Argosy University to be a substance abuse counselor. I'm working on my bachelor's, but I have just in the last couple of days been convinced to keep going for my master's. I know that I'll work with other people that are in addiction or that are trying to get out of addiction. Mm-hmm. And I know that I'll be able to take my life experience and combine it with education, and I think that I'll be a great counselor for some. I know that I'll be a mama, and because He's giving me my kids back, and my family, I'll focus more on my family than ever before. And other than that, I don't know. I just know that that's the direction that it'll go in, and I'm excited and I trust Him.
You will be an excellent counselor.
I think so.
Yeah, you already are an excellent counselor.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're helping lead people in the city out of addiction, and you'll be marvelous.
Thank you.
Let's talk about a little bit about the response that Break Every Chain got with the media.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there was no... what's the word I'm looking for? There was no hesitation with the media. Everyone has just been so supportive. I mean, it's so hard for me to just explain how supportive, but, you know, Troup County News, I have to say that they have done such a great job at not only being out at these events to cover the entire thing, every testimony, word for word, taking up the whole newspaper, you know.
A series.
Yeah. I mean, 6, 7 newspapers, not just that, but I'm going to do an article, we're going to run the flyer in the paper. I mean, they're just really supportive of this, and they believe in it. And the ladies that I've been working with over there, they're just so nice, and you can tell that they're genuinely excited about what's going on. And I've just met no resistance in the media at all. And this station,
WJCN.
Thank you. They've been great. They make sure that we get the word out. And even at the April event, they were out there filming some of it, you know, and
filmed it in its entirety and played it so many different times. It was amazing to see.
It is amazing.
The support, because people who were not able to come or didn't know about it could experience.
Because there's lots of people that can't get out there. When we did flyers at the cookout, there was a couple of people that said, well, I won't be able to come, that are homebound because of illness or injury, but it doesn't mean that their life hasn't been impacted by addiction somehow. So it's just great to see the media get involved and get the message out there.
And so did the LaGrange Daily News.
And LaGrange Daily News, yes.
So this event has been very newsworthy, and the news has been faithful to cover it. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. All right, so let's just name let's name some people that are going to give their testimony.
Okay.
So if people out there know those people, they'll be interested in coming and want to come.
Sure. Some of the testimonies are Lincoln Anderson, like I stated. Michael Moat, he has an awesome testimony. He shared once before, but it was brief at the end because we were getting close to the end of our time. So I'm excited to hear Michael's full story. David Stewart, I don't know him personally, but I've heard a lot about him, and I know that he's just on fire for God, and
Yes.
that his life has done a complete turnaround. So I'm excited to hear his as well. Lacey Funderburk, I've just met her through these events because she's been coming, and
Yes.
and she shared little bits and pieces with me. So I think that her story will be good for others to hear. I think she has a powerful story. Brittany Buchanan is a friend of mine from Reformers Unanimous, and she's an inspiration to the mamas out there, you know, that leave that lifestyle behind and just allow God to come in and teach them how to be mamas. She's an inspiration to me as well. Tara Mitchell, she's also a friend of mine from Reformers, but she's a mama of 3 addicts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she didn't live her life that way until she let that get the best of her. So she has a really good story to share.
Yes.
Let's see. Alan Aldridge is a good friend of mine. I believe I have convinced him to share.
Good.
He should be there. He better share. Katie Baker, of course, you know, we're like sisters. She's not really going to share her testimony, but she has something to say.
Right.
So we love Katie, and I can't wait to hear what the Lord is wanting her to share. Sharita Locklear is going to share. She's not doing testimony, but she's just going to do a small tribute to some of our friends that we've lost this year.
Oh.
So,
Yeah. And
Carrie Bush from 808, that's right. I'm excited to hear hers. Carrie has an awesome story, not about addiction, but of living a life of atheism and going from that to worship leader. And that just shows how awesome God is. And I would love to hear her full story. Just what she
Yes.
shared with me gives me chills.
Yes. And Kelly, you have told me that planning this event and doing these events has really helped you.
So, yeah.
Tell me how it's helped you.
Because it reiterates to me that that's who I am and that God has bigger plans for me, and it focusing on doing what's right keeps me from doing what's wrong.
Yes.
It really does. And now that I've been doing them, I know that I have a large support system. It's huge. God's surrounded me with an army of people that I can call on, and they're family to me. It's also made me accountable to those people.
Yeah.
So I know that I have to answer for what I do, you know, and I know that if I call any one of my new friends, their support to me as well as me to them. So
Yes.
God's built an army. He's raised up an army, and it keeps me on the right path to know that I'm accountable, and I'm happy to be so.
Yes, we're happy too.
Okay.
Thank you for watching You Make the Difference, and remember, you truly do.